dharmas are empty, there are differences among them. Emptiness is harder to see in some than in others. Here the sutra compares dharmas, the emptiness of which is hard to see, with other dharmas, e.g. magic show, mirage, etc., the emptiness of which is easy to see. Moreover, there are two types of dharmas: those that are the object of an erroneous judgment and those that are not the object of an erroneous judgment. Here we are using the second type in order to understand the first type. Question: why are the 10 points of comparison not the object of erroneous judgment? Answer: because these 10 points, magic show, mirage, etc., do not last for a long time, and because they arise and perish easily. This is why they are not the object of an erroneous judgment. Moreover, there are people who know that these 10 points bring about auditory and visual delusions, but who do not know that dharmas are empty. This is why the sutra compares dharmas to these 10 points here. If people believed in the reality of the 10 points of comparison used by the sutra, they would not understand the various objections raised here against the reality of dharmas, because they would hold the magic show, the mirage, etc., to be real. If these 10 points of comparison do not fulfill their role in the discussion, we would need to resort to yet other demonstrations. 20. Asangave Saradya Pratalabdha. Sutra. They have acquired the unhindered fearlessnesses. Sastra. Their mind encounters no obstacle, neither exhaustion nor cessation, in regard to the various aggregates, elements, bases of consciousness, or causes and conditions. Thus they have unhindered fearlessnesses. Question: the sutra said above that in the midst of infinite assemblies the Bodhisattvas are endowed with the fearlessnesses. Why does it repeat here that they have unhindered fearlessnesses? Answer: above, it was a question of the cause of the Vasaradhyas, here it concerns their effect. In the assemblies, including those of the Bodhisattvas, their preaching is inexhaustible, their teaching indomitable, and their mind imperturbable, for they have acquired the unhindered fearlessnesses. Moreover, the sutra said above that they are fearless in the midst of infinite assemblies, but one does not know by virtue of what power they are fearless. This is why here it adds that they are fearless because they have acquired an unhindered power. Question: if the Bodhisattvas, like the Buddha, have these unhindered fearlessnesses, how does the Buddha differ from them? Answer: we have said that the Bodhisattvas who have the power of the fearlessnesses experience no fear in respect to any dharma. But that is not the superior fearlessnesses enjoyed by the Buddha. Moreover, there are two kinds of unhindered dharmas, universal and non-universal. The person, for example, who experiences no difficulty in a whole series of texts, from one text to 100,000 texts, or who experiences no fear in front of a whole series of assemblies, from 1 to 100,000 assemblies, is non-universal. In the same way, the Bodhisattvas do not encounter any obstacle in their own wisdom but rather in that of the Buddha. Thus when the Buddha dropped his begging bowl, the 500 arhats and the Bodhisattvas, Maitreya, etc., were unable to catch hold of it. In the same way, the Bodhisattvas encounter no obstacles in their own power, but they do in that of the Buddha's wisdom. It is in this sense that we say that the Bodhisattvas have unfettered fearlessness. 21. Avatarakassala. Sutra. Knowing the course of the mind and the conduct of beings, they were skilled in saving them by means of their subtle wisdom. Sastra. Question: how do the Bodhisattvas know the minds and conduct of beings? Answer: they know the minds and the actions of beings. They are like the light of the sun which shines everywhere. They know where the thoughts and acts of beings will lead, and they instruct them on these subjects, saying, beings have two types of courses. Either their mind is always in search of pleasure, or their wisdom succeeds in distinguishing good from bad. Do not follow your inclinations. Apply yourselves to wisdom, redirect your thoughts. For innumerable kalpas you have accumulated actions of mixed value without stopping. You pursue only worldly pleasures without understanding that they are suffering. You do not see that the world that covets pleasure falls into misfortune and will be reborn in the 5 destinies. Who is able to undo what has been done by the mind? You are like a mad elephant that tramples, destroys, pillages and demolishes without allowing itself to be controlled. Who will be able to tame you? If you find a skillful tamer, you will escape the torments of the world, you will understand the impurity of the rebirths. The fetter of misfortune is like hell. If one is reborn there, it is old age, sickness, death, suffering, sadness, and all kinds of confusion. If one is reborn in the heavens, one will fall back down in the threefold world. There is no peace. Why do you cling to pleasures? Such are the various reproaches made by the Bodhisattvas to them, and this proves that they know the mind and conduct of beings. Question: how do they save them? By means of their subtle wisdom. First, what is subtle wisdom and what is coarse wisdom? Answer: coarse wisdom is a purely mundane skill. Generosity, discipline, and concentration are called subtle wisdom. Furthermore, the wisdom of generosity is a coarse wisdom. The wisdom of discipline and concentration is subtle wisdom. Furthermore, the wisdom of jnana is coarse wisdom. Jnana without bliss is a subtle wisdom. Furthermore, it is a coarse wisdom that grasps all the characteristics of dharmas, but it is a subtle wisdom that does not accept or reject any characteristic of dharmas. Finally, destroying ignorance and the other afflictions and discovering the nature of dharmas is a coarse wisdom. But penetrating into the true nature, incorruptible and imperishable like gold, indestructible and unchangeable like diamond, untarnishable and ungraspable like space, is a subtle wisdom. These are the innumerable subtle wisdoms that the Bodhisattvas have acquired and which they teach beings. Thus the Sutra says that, knowing the course of the mind and the activity of beings, the Bodhisattvas are skilled in saving them by means of the subtle wisdom. End chapter 11.